Welcome to the Game Grove. I am Faerie and I am dragging you with me to try to complete this challenge that has had me entertained for the last little while. I am working on an eco review on Civilization VI. For those of you who know this game, it is an extremely complicated game. One of the features that is least discussed, or that I think is kind of taken for granted for Civilization, is the scenarios feature. Scenarios are specific game versions. They have their own rules. They usually have very big time constraints. And this one has been kicking my butt. Now, I am setting it in the highest difficulty, which is Diety. And it is called Outback Tycoon. Here you are playing the colonizers of Australia. And I have very mixed feelings about that. But it also uses one of the mechanics that I want to discuss, which is appeal. Now, there are a couple of options as to how you can play this scenario, and each of them will give you a slightly different bonus. I am going to be playing as the Premier of Queensland for two reasons. The first one is, look at this. Look at this koala. It is so cute. It's holding onto a tree, but you can't see the tree. So maybe it's not a tree. Maybe it's its mama. Maybe it's mama. It's hanging out right here, and it's also looking at you while it's chewing on a eucalyptus leaf, and I am charmed. I love those little buggers. I love all little buggers. I guess that's kind of the point. But the main reason I'm going to be playing as the Premier of Queensland is because all tiles gain +1 appeal. I'm going to try to explain what appeal does. Appeal is one of the mechanics in the game that I have been trying to understand better, because I don't think I've really used it in my time playing this game. I think it is really interesting. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that once we get into the game. But for now, just know that we are Team Koala. Let's go. Now, this doesn't play like the Australia of the main game. It has its own sort of set of rules. And if you have never played Civilization before, don't worry. It's going to start making sense, I hope, as we start. Okay, so here we are in the game, and there's a lot going on, but we'll try to go slow. For those of you who are not very familiar to this game, I think this is a good introduction because it uses only a fraction of its mechanics. This is our map. It has the general outline of Australia. However, the topography, all of the features inland, are procedurally generated, so they're going to be different every single time you play this. The map is not revealed. All of this means that other than the outline, the general shape of it, it's unexplored. Everything except here in New South Wales, which is, I believe, the first colonial settlement. If I'm not wrong, I don't know that much about Australia's history. And we start the game with a unit. This is an explorer. We're going to use this explorer to move along the Australian coast to figure out where we want to put our first city. The blue outlined region means how far we can move in this turn. And at the end of 4 turns, we'll get the unit with which we can start the city, a settler. So let's start exploring. I'm going to go north because we are Queensland, and I believe that's where Queensland actually is. Right off the bat, we start seeing that all of these tiles have different properties, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. But for now, just keep in mind that we want to find some jungle. All of this is desert, and the problem with settling on the desert is that there is no access to fresh water. Oh, there we go. This is a jungle tile. Interesting. Very interesting. This looks like a really interesting area already. We have some jungle, we have some marble, some rock or quarries, and we have some luxury resources. These oranges are going to keep our populace happy. It's citrus in Civilization. They're going to act as some amenities, as will these whales. And then the extra copies of it will let us trade for it. You can also see that the tile has these little corn cobs, and that is the yield of the tile. That means this tile is going to give us 4 food. That's what the corn cobs stand for. This is already looking like a good location, but we still have quite a bit of time to explore a little bit more. So I'm just gonna keep going along the coast, just in case we see something really, really interesting. There's some tea over here. The Great Barrier Reef seems to have been dropped over here this time. The Great Barrier Reef, it's not the way it works in the base game, but it's going to give us not only 3 food for every tile of it, it's also going to give 2 science. These little beakers stand for science. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Although we can move much faster by water than we can by land, this area looks really good for settling. And this area looks really good for settling, but I want to put our first city here. So I'm going to move inland and use the rest. Oh, a free settler will appear at the start of your next turn in the coastal tile closest to your explorer. So if we can get the explorer, no, we can't. We can get it far. We can't get it close enough. But we've revealed a little bit more of the map, and I think that has quite a bit of value. We're gonna send the settler back, and we're just gonna keep sending the explorer forth. I think revealing this has actually a lot of value. We're gonna drop our city right here. Oh, and it looks like we found something special, but we'll find out next turn. Okay, I think this is exactly the tile where we want to set our city. So here we have it, the city of Brisbane. The dotted line represents kind of like our border so far. It will grow. It's going to grow according to how much culture we're able to produce. And culture is represented by this purple icon, the little musical key. It looks like a really good city. We are starting with 3 population and enough housing to fill in 13 people. We have access to fresh water from the river. We have access to the coast. We have a lot of citrus in our range, which is giving us a lot of food. That's going to help our city grow in 2 turns. This little number here tells us how long it will take based on the amount of food that we have to get a new citizen. And these little orange cogs represent production. It's our ability to complete different projects, buildings, units, and I think we want to start by placing a harbor. A harbor is a district. It's going to take a tile and it's going to get rid of the yields that are originally in that tile, but it's going to give us a new set of yields as well as some other opportunities to put some buildings in the district. So I'm going to put it right here, because if we put our harbor right here, because we have so many opportunities to take advantage of these whales, it's actually going to give us +4 gold. I have not mentioned this, but our objective, the way in which we beat this scenario, is by getting to 900 gold per turn income. This is the amount of gold with which we started. And right now we are making 5.2 gold per turn. So in order to win in the next 60 turns, and we're already on turn 7, we need to get to +900. It is not going to be easy, but we are the Koala Nation. There are also a couple other things going on right now. Not only do we have this wonderful new settlement, now that we have settled, we need to choose what we're going to start researching. Currently, we have 4.3 just from our population and our government house and being a new settlement, science per turn. These are the technologies that we have available to us at the beginning. And this is the amount that each of these is going to take to complete. I think our best bet is to start by researching cartography. I think that's going to enable us to do a couple of fun things. But also, and I think this is one of the things that is really special about this game, we're going to be working towards our civics. Civics are cultural research. They're going to unlock new governments. They're going to give us a lot of goodies. In this game mode, they're also going to be the only way in which we can get settlers to make new cities. And we are going to research the only civic available to us, which is the penal colony. We are a penal settlement at the moment. We have done some sort of heinous crime back in England, and we are here to pay our dues to the crown. We have been sent to the land down under to become sheep herders and whatnot. As we go on, we're going to keep getting those little random events that are going to affect the people outside our city's borders. So now we are a penal colony. That's a penal settlement. That's our first government type. And this government type gives us an economic policy slot. Right now we only have two options. We can either get a bonus of 30% production towards building or training fishers, or we can get a bonus of plus 30 production towards training or building farmers. I think we're going to start with fishers. We're going to be building a lot of farmers, but I think in this case, builders is going to be better to start with. Now, these policies, we are going to be able to change and swap out anytime we research a new civic. So we're going to agree to this for now. And this is looking really interesting. These tiles here have 2 production, 1 food, but also for some reason, they're producing 1 culture and 1 science. I think that what this means is that right here, we're going to find natural wonder, the Pinnacles. This is a 1 tile, impassable natural wonder, which provides +1 culture and +1 science to all of the tiles around it. It is so close to our city. I think it's going to come in really, really handy for us. But we also have this other settler. And I think I want to settle right here before one of our competitors takes that spot. Now we must research one of these 3 options. However, this one, the gold rush, is going to take us 61 turns with our current cultural output, unless we can reveal 1 gold ore resource. Those are usually in the desert. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but it takes longer than the actual scenario would take to play. There's not really any point in researching it right now. If we reveal 1 gold ore resource, it is going to automatically complete about 90% of the research. So I think we should hold off on doing that until we can find that. In the meantime, I think it might be more productive for us to start working towards our next government type, which would be a crown colony, or towards sheep rearing. And sheep rearing is going to give us the ability to build pastures. Already within range of our capital, I can see 2 potential pastures. There's some horses over here and some more horses over here. I think this is the way to go. I'm gonna send our settler all the way to try to grab this. And we're going to choose our next production. Since we currently have the bonus to building fishers, I think that's what I'm going to start with, because it's going to take a little bit less time than building a farmer. And I think we're going to need some of these units to start improving some of the resources around us. So let's do that. Now, where do I want to drop my second city? I think I want it right here. And there we are, the city of Ipswich. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Already with this city, down, and our other city, we are producing a grand total of 11.5 gold per turn. When we can complete 15 gold per turn, we are going to get the crown colony boosted. We're going to get about half of the research done for it automatically. So I think we're pretty close to that. I think we should start working on it. I think this city should probably also start by building a harbor. Yeah, I like that idea. Every time we build a harbor or a commercial hub, which we'll get access to later, we're going to increase our trade route capacity. That means we can build a trader. It would take us 4 turns to build one, but we're still working on the fisher. I think I'd rather buy it. For 95 gold, I can just get this trader. And we'll be able to set up a trade route next turn. Oh, we just got 200 gold for free. That is awesome. We have 2 possible trade routes. I think I'm gonna try send it here. Maybe we'll have better luck from there. So let's transfer to the other city. And I don't know if that reconsiders it, or if we're just simply too far away. We might need to settle a city in between. Here is our fisher. A fisher is a type of unit which is considered a worker. It works like the workers do in the base game. It has 3 uses, and after it's used 3 times, it will disappear. I'm gonna use it to start building whaling stations. Yeah, it wants to go all the way around, and I don't know if we like that. Okay, it's gonna give us a little bit of food and a little bit of production towards Ipswich, which might help it grow, so it might still be worth it. I think I'm gonna do it. We're going to start building a lot of farmers really shortly. But before we do, and while we change the cards that will enable us to do that, I think we should take a short detour and build an explorer. This one is not doing too well, and we want to try to reveal as much of the map as we can. In the meantime, this city, since we still have the fishing policy, might as well start working on that. We're almost at 15 gold per turn, so I'm just going to change the focus of the city. We have 1 population in Ipswich, and that 1 population can be assigned to any tile within the city's range to work. Right now it is working this forest for 1 food and 3 production. But if I switch it so that it is working this resource, which is pearls, then we are going to go over the limit, and when we end our turn, we should have this policy boosted. We should get an inspiration for it. There we are. We love to see it. So here we have our fisher, and the fisher is going to let us build an improvement on this tile. We have a luxury resource, which is whales, and if we build fishing boats on it, this tile that is currently giving us, I know you can't see it because of the recommendation, but if I deselect it, you can see it is currently giving us 1 food, 1 production, and 2 gold. If I build an improvement here, it is giving us 2 food, 1 production, and 2 gold, which just makes it a little bit better, a little bit easier to work. If I highlight the city, you can see it says 3 turns until border growth. It means that our city is going to start growing in this direction. That is based on how much culture our city is producing, which is 2.7 at the moment. We should probably try to get that number up. This scout is going to continue venturing inland and hopefully gonna find a little bit of gold on the way. Luxury resources are really interesting. Having 1 copy of a luxury resource, right now we have a citrus because we settled on top of it, and we have a whale because we have improved it. will give our citizens some amenities. Amenities determine how happy your citizens are, and that determines how productive they are. That's going to give us some bonuses. Right now we're getting plus 30% from amenities, plus 30% food, and plus 5% production, and everything else. If we have an extra copy, it doesn't really keep increasing our amenities. It doesn't make our population happier. In fact, amenities is going to go down as our population grows. They become less happy. Some of that hedonistic adaptation we'll be talking about in the other video. So we need to find different ways to keep our populace happy. So why did I improve the second one? Well, firstly, it makes the style also a little better. Also, because I now have an extra copy of it, I can trade it to some of the other, I believe they're still penal settlements. And they're going to give me 39 gold. Is not a lot, but I will get it back in 30 turns, so maybe I can sell it again. We'll see. I'm gonna sell it to the Premier of Victoria. And I am not sure what animal their flag is about. I want to say, no, that's not a sugar glider, but it is also really cute. They might not be Koala Nation, but they got something cute going on. I'm gonna accept this deal and get a little bit of extra gold. And let's keep going. Okay, that explorer has been having a tough time. I think now that we have 2 whales, I'm actually going to start sending the fisher to my other city. I think we're going to find some use for them over there. And in the meantime, I have to send the settler out into the outback again. We really need to find some gold. Right now, that's one of our main priorities. Even if I'm not actually planning on mining it. Out of all of our possible research that we have following, I think the 2 most relevant ones are either irrigation or banking. I think in this case, I want to try to go for irrigation first. That is going to let us build improvements on our citrus. And we have another colonist. I want to start sending these colonists further inland. I want to take advantage of Ipswich. I want to take advantage of the Pinnacles over here. So I kind of want to get a city in range of that. And I think that if we settle somewhere along this river, that is going to work just fine for us. Here we have we're going to improve those pearls. And we can change our government type. Instead of being a penal settlement, now we are going to be a colonial government. And this new government type is going to let us have 2 policy slots. As I said, we're going to switch from building fishers towards building farmers. And all farmers are going to get 2 extra build actions every time we buy it. Also, this policy, the colonial architects, is going to give each of our cities +1 production. It doesn't seem like much, but the more cities we have, the more that's going to mean. And it's really going to boost some of our newer cities. So we're going to choose that. There we go. I really want to start working on gold, but again, it's still going to take us 30 turns. That time has been cut significantly, mostly because although we haven't found the inspiration for it, we haven't revealed a gold ore source, we are now producing more culture than we were before. We're producing 2.8 in the city, and in Brisbane is 5.3. All of our population is going to passively produce culture, but also this tile right here, the marble, is going to help with that as well. Let's start working on sheep rearing. Is that right? Is that what I really want? Yes. sheep rearing, I think, for now. It's only gonna take one turn. Now I want this settler to settle a city right here next to the T. This new fisher doesn't really have anything to improve at the moment, and that's okay. We're gonna start probably another city here, and that's going to help. But maybe in the meantime it can help us explore a little. I don't know if we'll get to build 3 pastures, but even if we don't, this civic, that's going to take 7 turns, is going to give us another settler, and we want to get those cities down as quickly as we can. Okay, I think it's about time we start building some farmers. And here as well. It's actually kind of a pleasant surprise. Those random events are usually not positive. Alright, so I'm going to send this this explorer to scope out the south. Here is Melbourne. There's quite a bit of desert in this area. And I believe this is where we want to settle our city. That's going to put this natural wonder within our range, which I think is pretty important for us. Ooh, interesting. That's a little lake over there. Might give us a chance to get some fresh water. There is unfortunately a fisher blocking the way. Melbourne. The AI in this game is so weird. Melbourne has 3 settlers. They just have it waiting over there. Now this city, even though we have the policy that gives it 1 production, it's going to take 16 turns to build almost anything. We can't build a harbor because we don't have access to the coast. So instead, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a trader. We have capacity for 2 trade routes, and hopefully we can send it to Ipswich. That's going to make a road to that city, and I think we'll just start working on a farmer as well. This area is looking nice. Ooh, Kakadu. It is a 4-tile natural wonder which gives +2 food and +2 culture. This area looks really nice as well. Maybe we'll have time to set up some cities here. There is a problem, however, and that is that we don't have access to fresh water in this region. And fresh water determines our housing. Without fresh water, we are going to have a little bit of trouble growing our population. Okay, Melbourne. Melbourne's kind of being difficult, blocking the way with some settlers. That is irrigation. Irrigation is going to let us improve these tiles. So now they're going to give us 4 food and 2 gold. There we go, just as I was hoping. This trader is going to go on a route all the way to Ipswich. I think that's really good for us, because it's going to make it a little bit easier to move between these cities. This fisher is doing more exploring than the actual explorers. Oh, there's a little bit of cotton here. That's another good luxury resource. And there's some wine. Wow, this is where we should have gone. Look at all this jungle. But no, we have a natural wonder in range. I think this is a good place to be. Now that we have 2 trade routes, we have boosted banking, and I think we should take the opportunity to start working towards that. I think I'm gonna just keep building farmers for a little while. This explorer has been having a tough game. Been getting a lot of negative events. And another plantation here. We have 2 copies of oranges, and I think we should try to sell them. We're gonna sell one to the Premier of Western Australia and another one to Victoria, because they are the ones giving us the best deals. All right, here comes, okay, next turn. I actually really like this area. There is Perth. Wow, look at all these horses. And here is Uluru. That is another natural wonder. This one, I think it's a little bit too close to Western Australia for our taste. I don't want to settle around here. This is a really good one. I think we'll get a quick lighthouse. Our farmers, sorry, I'm used to calling them builders. Our farmers with their pitchforks are going to start removing some of these woods. Now, I know that's not what this channel is about. We are the Koala Nation, and here we are starting a deforestation project, but don't worry, we got a plan. Oh, I wanted to show you, but it switched too quickly. I'll show you next forest. Why? Why, Faerie? Why are we getting rid of the trees? I'm gonna show you why. We've gotten rid of the trees, but if you remember, we had something that we were building at the time. We were building a lighthouse, and now the lighthouse is completed. Every time you remove trees or rainforest, you get a single burst of production, and that's gonna help us complete some of these things a lot faster. Is that cynical? Yes. Yes, it is. Are we still going to do it? We pretty much have to. When we are on marsh, this is a marsh tile. When we remove the marsh, instead of giving us production, it's going to give us a boost of food. So right now we have 2 turns until the city grows. And when we remove it, we have grown to 10 population, and we're gonna get 11 and 4. And here is another settler. I wanna settle some stuff around here, but I think there's one more city I want to start here before I start moving inland too far. Come on, find the gold. No gold yet. Let's quickly research mining. Oh, we did reveal gold. Where? Let me see. Okay, well, not gold as in regular gold. We're looking for gold ore. Oh, right here. There is a little gold mine that the wombats have found. South Australia. All right, well, I am not going to complain. Now, that Civic that just a little while ago was taking 61 turns to complete, now takes a single turn. And I think we should go for it. Okay. I still like these policies. We're still building lots of farmers. I think we're gonna keep this as is. Okay, now our little army of farmers is gonna keep deforesting Australia. We're gonna send this one north, and these ones I think we're gonna start sending to Toowoomba. As you can see, our trade route has started making a road, and I think that's gonna make it a little bit easier for them to move around. I think maybe we want to see if we can find some more fresh water in the jungle. I'd love to settle a city around here. This is actually a tough decision. We have 3 available civics to us. They are all boosted. And they all do a lot for us. Drama and poetry is going to let us build theater squares. Theater squares work just like harbors do, except not in the water. They're going to take a tile, and instead of giving us a boost to our gold income, they're going to give us a boost to our culture. And the more culture we have, the faster we can move through these. I think that sounds really good. However, urbanization, that is also boosted, it's going to let us build sewers. And we've spent 25 turns without sewers. That seems kind of gross. Sewers are going to give us more housing, and eventually we're going to need that. But I think out of these 3, I want to go conservation. And I want to go conservation because this is the game grove, it is what we do, but also this will let us build naturalists. And I am excited to show you what they can do. Not only will they give us naturalists, it's going to give our regular farmers the ability to plant woods. So wherever we've chopped down a wood, now we can put it back up again. We can't keep cutting it over and over again for the production boost. It won't let you do that. I think that would kind of break the game. But I still think it's going to be good for us. Wow, Brisbane is doing really well. We can build a commercial hub in 1 turn. And the commercial hub is another district that's going to take a full tile. If we build it right here, we're going to get a +6. I think we're doing very well. We are making 26.2 gold per turn. But remember, our objective is 900, so we are 25 turns in. And I hope that we make it through. Oh, it is so frustrating how slowly these settlers move. Okay. What do we want to build next? I think this city's gonna need a lighthouse. That's gonna give us a little bit of food, a little bit of gold, a little bit of housing. All of that sounds good to me. This is what we were looking for. An inland river next to jungle. This is the one bit of jungle that we have so far. When we chop down jungle, it's going to give us some food and some production. But jungle is really interesting. Let's talk about appeal for a moment. Appeal is a measure of how desirable a certain, not desirable, I would say just pleasing or beautiful a place is. The appeal of any given tile, this is our appeal lens, is based on the tiles around it. So if a tile is breathtaking, I think it needs +4 or more. And if a tile is disgusting, I think it's -2. Forest gives +1 appeal to each tile around it. But rainforest gives -1 appeal. And this is interesting to me. Like, why? What do you have against the rainforest? The rainforest is beautiful. But I guess it is not easy to live next to the rainforest, right? It's humid, there's mosquitoes. So as we chop down rainforest and plant forests instead, not only are we going to speed all of our productions, we are going to be raising the appeal of these areas. And I have a lot of issues with this mechanic, but we'll get into it. Let's drop a city here. And the deforestation continues. It's only 1866 in the game, so no massive bushfires due to global warming just yet. And fourth city of Warwick. Awesome. What do we want next? Now I want to start settling cities here, but these cities don't have access to fresh water. That's gonna make it really challenging. So what I'm thinking is we can build an aqueduct from the mountain into the cities. But for that, we're gonna need some knowledge of engineering. Let's try that. Brisbane can start working on a shipyard. And Warwick, you cannot build a harbor. Why? Oh, you don't have a tile where you can build a harbor. Well, that's no problem. Let's do that right here. I think a city would need to be around here. Oh, it's not as forested as I thought. No matter. We push on. This would be a +8 commercial hub. That is very tempting. I think I'm gonna get a quick farmer before. This farmer can work here. I'm gonna use this farmer to take a peek into this area. Maybe there's something interesting in there. The modern era. We have researched conservation. Let's get drama and poetry. I think the city needs more farmers. Let's get that +8 commercial hub, and we are at 37.3 gold. And our army of farmers continues to deforest the beautiful and unique nature of Australia. And so it goes. Let's get rid of that ugly rainforest. Cannot even say it jokingly without feeling bad about it. Australia is a really special continent. The biodiversity is unique, right? Australia has its own evolutionary path because the landmass split from the rest of the world pretty early on. The type of animals that exist in Australia, and I believe plants as well, are kind of unlike anything else. It makes this environment special, but it also makes it very vulnerable to invasive species. And it makes it vulnerable to these incursions into natural habitats like these. Every time we chop down one of these rainforests, all of the digital little critters are disappearing. And it hurts my soul. But we push on. More farmers. That is engineering, which is great for us. Now we have the opportunity to research Federation. It will give us another free settler, but also it will unlock a new government type, the state government. No longer will we be a colony under British rule. We will be independent. Still a foreign power. We're not really from Australia. We're discovering a continent in which in this game, apparently, there's no one. But we know that not to be true. There were many indigenous peoples in Australia taking care and cohabitating with this land long before we arrived to start cutting down the rainforest wherever we could find it. And maybe, no, not maybe, definitely, they could definitely appreciate the nature here better. Will we manage to become rich koalas? Will our errant fisher ever catch a fish? Will there be any trees left in Australia when we are done with it? Subscribe to find out in part 2. Leave a like if you like this, and a comment if you've got one. Also, check out our Patreon and our Coffee to support the channel. And go touch some grass whenever you hit pause.